Hi friends, Prepared Suburbanite back at you. Well, today is Super Tuesday, and the wife and I just got back from casting our primary ballots at the local polling place, and it was in and out very, very quickly. There was no lines, not a lot of people around. Uh, so it was pretty straightforward, very simple. We did have to show ID and confirm our identities and address, all that, just to make sure that we were who we say we were, and I voted. So we are good to go with that. Now, I've got a couple of questions, I think, for my audience, and we'll just kind of lead into that as we get into today's video. I, I struggle with the content that I wish to publish on here, and I never really ever wanted to take the doom and gloom approach and try to scare everybody, preaching, oh my God, the world is going to end and all that. I don't think that's the right way to go about it. Prepping to me is basically a way of life. It's a more conservative viewpoint on what we need to be doing. We can save a lot of money by employing a lot of the prepper techniques and stocking up on things. So, but I've got a few questions that I'd like to ask you, so stick around. So question number one, I guess on the top of my list, is if you've been a prepper, if you've been involved in the prepper community and you look at other prepper channels whenever you get the chance and whenever you see something that pops up of interest, are you motivated by the doom and gloom approach? Oftentimes I'll log into or watch somebody else's, another prepper channel's approach to things, and they're out there screaming doom and gloom. Oh, the world is going to end. If you don't have all your preps in order, you're going to be the first ones to go, and all that. And I just don't think that that's really the message that the prepper community needs to be hearing or needs to be expounding upon. I think that a very conservative approach to prepping, that being prepared is good business, it's comforting, it's called security, it's like buying insurance for times of trouble. And times of trouble, they're going to happen. It doesn't really. I don't think there's anything that we can do or say that's going to prevent any of this kind of stuff from happening. So that's question number one. Are you motivated when you log into or watch a YouTube video that's all doom and gloom? And do you run right out and buy more rice and beans? So that's the first question. Question number two is, how long have you been a prepper? How long have you been engaged in being prepared for any kind of eventuality, whether it's weather related, whether it's economic? It doesn't matter what the trigger may be, but I'm just curious to see how long you estimate you've been prepping. I'll share my story. We began prepping in earnest back during the Obama administration. So back in maybe 2009 or 10, around in that time frame, we really started getting serious about prepping. We bought a whole house generator. We made sure that our house was up to date and in good repair. We've had our electrical panel redone. We had new siding put on the house, new eaves troughs, new roof. We got new windows to make things a lot more energy efficient. And while that may not be part of a traditional way of looking at being prepared, but I look at my shelter, my home, as my first line of defense. I don't really have any ambition to take off and head to the woods if trouble starts coming our way. I'm going to hold out right here. And we've got enough neighbors and friends that are of a like mind that I think will do just fine. So I've been prepping, like I said, since maybe 2009, 2010, and we've invested quite a lot of time and money into our preparations for whatever. And a lot of it has to do with advancing age. As I'm almost 72 now, and as we get older, the necessity for having things close at hand, having the next meal already saved up and in the pantry, making sure that you've got what you need on hand. I think it goes a long way to give me a big feeling of self-confidence. So, back to question number two. How long have you been seriously prepping? For us, it's been almost 20 years, a good solid 15 for sure, and pushing 20 years. Kind of a side note on that. Uh, I never really looked at my wife and said, she's a prepper. But you know, she's been a prepper all her life. She grew up on a farm in northern Pennsylvania, and they didn't have a whole lot of money. They had to get by with what they had, and her mom baked bread because it was cheaper than buying the store-bought kind. And they had chickens and cattle and this and that around the place. So they had fresh eggs. They would butcher a cow every once in a while and have meat. The folks up in northern Pennsylvania hunted, so they'd get a deer during hunting season, and they'd carve that all up, and they'd have enough to get by. They invested in freezers, pantry. My mother-in-law was probably one of the better cooks I've ever come in contact with. She could can, she could braise, she could do a charcoal grill, but she was absolutely amazing when it came to her cooking skills. And even in her very, very late years, when she was in her late 80s and early 90s, her daughters, my wife included, would call and ask her advice. How long do you have to do corn before you can it? And she knew right off the top of her head exactly how long to do corn. And I think it was 2 hours, which was a heck of a lot more than what you'd see with other kind of vegetables around. But because of the starchiness of the corn kernels, it takes a couple hours to make it safe to can. So, and she knew that right off the top of her head. She didn't need to go to a reference book, look it up on the internet. She just contained that ancient wisdom, we'll call it. So, question number three, as we get closer to this election, are you concerned that there may be all kinds of let's just say activity that is in protest of whoever is leading or whoever wins the presidential race? I see that our country has been divided so many different ways, and I'm not sure exactly what the reasons are. I'm reading a current book right now, which I've talked about in previous videos. And part of the theory there is that the division in the United States is being facilitated by our enemies, cultural enemies. And it's basically, from their perspective, how to beat the enemy without firing a shot. And that's due to political division, racial division, you name it kind of division, the left versus the right. And as I remain very concerned that come this fall, when the election results are announced, that there will be all kinds of shenanigans, to put it mildly, where there will be violence in the streets. And I don't really think that's a good idea. So I need your thoughts on question number 3. Do you think that we're going to experience some kind of trouble after the election is announced? Anyway, here's I've done some recent videos on some of the things that we're doing around here for getting ready for the spring season, getting ready for making sure our preps are up to date. And I hope you take a minute to go check out a couple of those. I just did one on Flame King refillable canisters, which I think are quite a money saver and pretty safe. I don't think it's a good idea to fill up those disposable from Coleman, but the Flame Kings are designed to be refilled multiple times, and I think that's a great prepping kind of an idea. We've started on our garden. We've planted our tomato seeds and our pepper plant seeds, and we've got some stuff in the ground already, early winter peas and beets and whatever else my wife planted out there the other day. I've trimmed back our fruit trees, hoping that we're going to get a good bounty this year from our plum trees and apple trees. So we'll have to see how that all goes. But I'd encourage you to go check out some of my recent videos. And if you found any of the questions here intriguing, or if you found any of the information that I've shared in this video helpful, please give us a like, give us that thumbs up, share it where you can, and make sure you're subscribed. This is the Prepared Suburbanite, reminding you to be prepared always, and I'll see you all on the next video.